Hey, folks, it's your boy, the boss of economics, back to break down the latest economic dumpster fire for you hardworking taxpayers and finance junkies out there. Strap in, because today we're diving headfirst into the chaotic clown show that is President Trump's trade tariff rollout, a policy so messy, it makes a toddler's finger painting look like a Monet. And guess what? Your wallets, your jobs, and your future are all on the line, thanks to the government's A+ management skills, or should I say, F-. Let's get into it. Oh, where do we even start with this? President Donald Trump's grand tariff plan, years in the making, apparently, was unveiled in a whirlwind of confusion, contradiction, and outright incompetence. Picture this: aides scrambling hours before the big reveal, steel and auto workers dragged to the White House Rose Garden for a photo op, and Trump hoisting a placard like a game show host, only for the administration to backtrack twice on the tariff rates within 24 hours. 1 minute, we've got one set of numbers, the next, higher rates for over a dozen countries, and then, oops, back to the original rates. Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent's response to the chaos? A shrug and an "I'm not sure" on live TV. Folks, if this is the art of the deal, then I'm Picasso. But here's the kicker: this isn't just a logistical snafu. This is the centerpiece of Trump's economic agenda, a policy he's been hyping since his campaign days, and it's already a global laughingstock. Foreign capitals are scrambling, business executives are panicking, and Wall Street? Oh, Wall Street is having a full-on meltdown, with the S&P 500 shedding $2.5 trillion in a single day, the worst drop since 2020. And what does our fearless leader have to say? Things are going very well. Yeah, Trump, and I'm sure the Titanic's captain thought the iceberg was just a speed bump. Now, let's peel back the layers of this economic onion and see what's really going on here. Trump's tariff plan is being sold as a bold move to fix U.S. trade imbalances and bring jobs back home. Sounds great on paper, right? But here's the problem: protectionism like this doesn't fix economies, it breaks them. And the data backs me up. First, let's talk about the immediate fallout. The stock market's $2.5 trillion nosedive wasn't just a bad day, it was a warning shot. Investors aren't stupid. They know tariffs are a tax on imports, which means higher costs for businesses, higher prices for consumers, and a big, fat middle finger to global supply chains. Just look at the numbers: the U.S. imports over $3.1 trillion in goods annually, and Trump's plan includes a universal 10% tariff plus a whopping 60% levy on China, our biggest trading partner. According to a 2024 study by the Peterson Institute for International Economics, these tariffs could increase the average American household's annual costs by $1,700. That's right, folks, your grocery bills, your car parts, your iPhones, all going up, 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 thanks to Uncle Sam's brilliant idea. But wait, there's more. Tariffs don't just hurt consumers, they hurt businesses too. Take the auto industry, for example. Trump's global car tariffs, which, by the way, even his former economic advisor Larry Kudlow called unpredictable, are already spooking manufacturers. General Motors and Ford rely on imported parts for over 30% of their production, according to the American Automotive Policy Council. Slap a 10% tariff on those parts, and suddenly, your next F-150 costs $5,000 more. And don't even get me started on retaliation. Europe is already gearing up for a trade war, with EU leaders threatening to slap tariffs on $300 billion worth of U.S. exports, including agriculture and tech. Kansas Senator Jerry Moran, representing a farm state, is sweating bullets, and for good reason. Remember the 2018 soybean debacle, when China's retaliatory tariffs cost U.S. farmers $12 billion in exports? Buckle up, because round 2 is coming. Now, let's zoom out and look at the bigger picture. Why is this tariff plan such a disaster? Spoiler alert, it's not just the tariffs themselves, it's the government's sheer incompetence in rolling them out. This isn't just a policy problem, it's a management problem. And when the government screws up this badly, it's not just a funny headline, it's a recession waiting to happen. First, let's talk about the process, or lack thereof. This tariff plan was years in the making, yet aides were still scrambling hours before the announcement. Critical decisions were made down to the wire, with no time to consult allies, calm Republican lawmakers, or even coordinate a consistent message. And don't forget the flip-flopping. One day, Trump says he's open to tariff reductions if other nations offer something phenomenal. The next, his advisors are screaming, no negotiations, and calling it a national emergency. Mixed messages like this don't inspire confidence, they inspire chaos. Just ask the stock market. Second, let's talk about the people behind this mess. Trump's inner circle, folks like Commerce Secretary Howard Lutnick and Senior Counselor Peter Navarro, are yes men, not economists. Navarro, by the way, is the guy who spent 4 months in federal prison for his role in the January 6th investigation, which tells you everything you need to know about his judgment. Gone are the free traders from Trump's first term who at least tried to temper his worst impulses. Instead, we've got a team that's more interested in enabling Trump's protectionist fantasies than actually fixing the economy. And the result? A tariff plan based on an unorthodox formula that calculates duties based on trade surpluses, not actual barriers, a method so bizarre, it's got Wall Street scratching its head. Third, let's talk about the long-term consequences. Trump's big promise is to bring manufacturing jobs back to the US. Sounds great, right? But here's the problem, tariffs don't magically reshore industries. Just look at the data from Trump's first term. His 2018 steel tariffs were supposed to revive American steel production, but according to the Federal Reserve, U.S. steel employment barely budged, while downstream industries like auto manufacturing lost 75,000 jobs due to higher costs. And here's the kicker, Lutnick, one of Trump's top advisors, admitted on live TV that companies like Apple could just use robots, not humans, to build iPhones in the U.S. So much for that flood of jobs Trump promised. Instead, we're looking at a future of higher prices, fewer jobs, and a government that's too busy fighting itself to fix anything. Now, let's take this global, because Trump's tariffs aren't just a US problem, they're a world problem. This is the biggest US tariff hike in a century, a direct attack on the post-World War II global trading system that has kept the world economy humming for decades. And the timing couldn't be worse. According to the International Monetary Fund's October 2024 World Economic Outlook, global growth is already slowing, projected at just 3.2% for 2025, down from 3.3% in 2024. Trade wars don't fix slowdowns, they make them worse. Just look at the 1930 Smoot-Hawley Tariff Act, which raised U.S. tariffs on over 20,000 imported goods and helped turn a bad recession into the Great Depression. Global trade plummeted by 66%, and unemployment soared to 25%. History doesn't repeat, but it sure does rhyme, folks. And let's not forget the geopolitical fallout. Trump's tariffs are hitting allies and adversaries alike, with Canada, Mexico, and the EU caught in the crossfire. Canada, our biggest trading partner, exports $440 billion worth of goods to the US annually, and now they're facing tariffs despite being part of the USMCA trade agreement, you know, the one Trump himself signed. Meanwhile, China, already locked in a tech and trade war with the US, is facing 60% tariffs, which could crater bilateral trade and push Beijing to accelerate its push for self-sufficiency, according to a 2024 report by the Rhodium Group. And Europe? They're not sitting idly by. The EU is already drafting retaliatory tariffs on US goods, and if history is any guide, American farmers, manufacturers, and consumers will pay the price. So, where does this leave us? In a word, screwed. Trump's tariff plan is a masterclass in economic self-sabotage, a policy that promises jobs but delivers inflation, that promises fairness but delivers chaos, that promises strength but delivers weakness. And who's to blame? The government, folks. This isn't just a bad policy, it's a bad policy executed with all the competence of a drunk monkey with a flamethrower. And the data backs me up. The Congressional Budget Office projects that a full-blown trade war could shave 0.5% off U.S. GDP by 2026, while the National Bureau of Economic Research warns that inflation could hit 5%, levels we haven't seen since the early 1980s. But hey, don't take my word for it. Just look at the markets, look at the data, look at history. This isn't rocket science, it's economics. And here at Boss Economics World, we're not here to sugarcoat the truth. We're here to call it like we see it. Trump's tariffs are a disaster, and the government's mismanagement is pouring gasoline on the fire. So, to all you hardworking taxpayers out there, get ready to tighten your belts. And to all you finance pros watching, get ready to short the hell out of this market. Because if this is the art of the deal, then we're all about to get dealt a recession. That's all for today, folks. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and smash that notification bell, because here at Boss Economics World, we're always watching the government's latest screw-up so you don't have to. Until next time, stay savvy, stay skeptical, and keep your wallets close, because Uncle Sam sure isn't looking out for them. Peace out.